The point is, when you charge that amount of money, you're going to get compared to those phones. And one of the top comments on my review was, this is a terrible phone for $799 and a great phone for $499. And that happens a lot, where the price kind of like ruins the banter about how good the phone is. I think this is a pretty good phone, and if it was $599, we wouldn't be having nearly as many of these flagship discussions. But nothing wants to be a flagship. Okay, we have the Nothing Phone 3 again. The review is up now since the last episode. If you have any other thoughts or closing interesting things to say about it, this would be the time. Okay, here's my complaint with the Nothing Phone 3 and the reviews and what happened afterwards. I reviewed the phone. It is a pretty decent phone, but it is expensive for what you're getting. And so I talked about that. I talked about how they're using this first true flagship as a marketing term, basically. And you know, we expect the best phone ever, whatever, but it's not actually giving us the best parts. So I talked about that. But then also, aesthetically speaking, I mean, if you watch some other people's reviews, if you watch Mr. Mobile's review especially, it is a unique looking phone, and you don't really get that very often, especially in the slab world. And so you kind of have to give them at least a little bit of credit for that too. So many other phones just look the same. And I love using analogies. It's my favorite thing to do. So my analogy that I made was, when we've talked about how everything in carcinization, they're all turning into crabs. All these crustaceans are evolving into crabs, and it's hilarious. And we've joked about that before. I brought that into the video as like, look, all these other smartphones, these actual flagships, the play it safe, we need to sell as many as possible flagships, are generic. They're all turning into the same thing. Yeah. And you look at them all next to each other, and they all look the same. And year after year, they continue to look the same. So when something comes along that's a little different, you know, you might not love it, but at least it's different. At least they're trying something. And so maybe I called it like a different crustacean, a lobster. And it's just different from the rest of the crabs. And I give it credit for that, but I think then the Nothing people loved that particular analogy and like ran with just that part of the video, which, whatever, to their credit, they're marketers. They do what they want to do. But what are your thoughts on the lobster versus
just
crab?
To go on that, they went off on it.
Well, one of them made it their bio, their username.
I think he's the co-founder of Nothing. Wrote just like cool. He put a lobster on his, username on Twitter and said people will eventually get it, lobster. And then someone said, Ada's Gen 4 doesn't justify the price tag, and he said the lobster does.
Which, what do you mean?
Sick. No, dude, it's because, you know what it is? It's that lobsters are kind of freaky. Like, you ever seen a lobster up close?
They look weird.
They're freaky.
They look crabs.
But no.
I like the blue ones.
Yeah, but a lobster is even weirder than crab.
Crab makes sense. Crab is logic. You know what I mean? Crab, it's got legs you can see.
Flat.
It's got. Why does a lobster have fins, bro?
I was actually weirdly.
Why does it have pinchy hands and food hands?
Because they're in the water.
Separate hands for and separate hands for gobbling.
Yeah,
lobsters are weird.
I mean, that's dope.
No, but they're freaky. They're little alien sea bugs, and so
yeah.
I think there are people who take pride in having the freaky option. You know,
yeah.
I really think that's what you're hitting.
Yeah, I love eating bugs. I have this is Nothing's YouTube channel. Mm-hmm. If you scroll down a little bit, 3 of the videos have your face in their thumbnails.
Yeah, well, okay, so I was going to talk about this. Actually, one of the top comments was, I can't wait to see the Nothing CEO react to this one, because they react to all the reviews, and that's the thing that they've done before. The other, though, was they taking it out of context like that kind of feels, if you don't know what's happening, feels like we collaborated with them or something. Yeah. This is what happens. We make our video and we try to make the best video possible. And then, this happens a lot, the company sees the review and goes, ooh, we like that quote. Can we use it? And they might want to take part of the video or take a quote and use it on their website or use it in something or whatever, or make it their Twitter, but whatever they're doing. None of that. I don't tell them or make my videos for them to do that. That's just something they decided to do. Yeah. Just so that is clear.
I think it's pretty clear because the title of the video was They Lied. And then they were like, oh, cool, you talked about a lobster. And then they made their the what's this thing called again?
It's
the new glyph that sucks way more.
Glyph matrix.
The glyph matrix. They started posting pictures of it with a lobster and the glyph matrix, and then this is the Nothing India account that posted it next to a bunch of iPhones with crabs on them and Samsung's that say-
screenshot
Which they're
crab
not.
video.
They're not wrong about that.
This is a little bit refreshing though. Now that I've had like roughly 24 hours to sit with it, it's so nice for this to happen with something positive. Because normally you do a review of a product and you say a lot of good things about it, and then you say like one negative thing, and the company just like gets so mad, and all the fans are online hating you and like, what is happening? How could you say it? It's like I did a whole video saying how good of a phone it is. I just don't like this one thing, and this is flipped. It's like you did this one small compliment, and that's the one they're going with.
Yeah, when the title is They Lied.
Notice how they haven't linked to the review and any of
Yeah.
the posts referencing it to show people where the reference came from.
That's true.
I also have a small correction from the video. I said in the video that they had 2160 hertz PWM dimming, which is a useful feature for people who are affected by that. A lot of OLEDs, when you go all the way to the bottom of the lowest brightness, they flicker. And so when they can have good, high quality PWM dimming that's less irritant for those people's eyes, the phone actually doesn't. It actually has 960 hertz PWM dimming. It was changed at the last second, so I got a little quote from Nothing to explain themselves, because I put in the video something that turned out to not be true. They said, there have been a change to the PWM dimming rate. It's now 960 hertz. While the display is capable of the original rate quoted, we found display performance at low brightness produces the best quality picture with this updated rate, so we have prioritized picture quality for the final retail software. So hopefully that works. Hopefully that's still great for people who are bothered by low quality dimming.
Do you know how
Just
we
correction.
learned about that correction, though?
How?
I had to find someone talking about it on Reddit. And then I said, this is what our reviewer's guide said. We just double checked it. And then I guess Techspert said that they changed it. I don't know how he got that comment in the first place. And then we had to ask them about it changing.
Yeah, we had
There's
to
still
ask.
other articles out there that still say 2160. So
Yep, wouldn't blame them. It's, again, this is something Nothing changed at the last second. Ideally, everyone can update their articles, but here's my correction so you know. Yeah, I don't know. The design of the phone itself is kind of, it's grown on me a little bit. There's obviously a light one and a dark one. I like the dark one better. I think the light one is
grown on you.
The dark one has. I think the light one still looks weird and jarring because of the contrast and just how weird and misaligned the lenses are.
Love it, man. I love it.
But
Love it.
yeah, it's a good phone. It's just not a good price.
I think it's easy to see all the backlash and think it's the design, but that's not what people are
No,
mad about.
people are not
People
mad
are
at that.
so mad at the price and that for these specs, there's plenty of other phones that are far cheaper than
this happens a lot, and a lot of people talked about this. Like, this is a $799 or 80,000 rupee phone. For that price, you can get iPhone 16. You can get a Pixel 9. You can get a Galaxy S25. These are like the mega phones that like sell millions and millions of units, except for the Pixel. But that's their goal, is to be mainstream flagship
Doing
phones.
better, except for the fact that it just got banned in Japan.
Tough.
Well, the old ones, anyway.
But the point is, when you charge that amount of money, you're going to get compared to those phones. And one of the top comments on my review was, this is a terrible phone for $799 and a great phone for $499. And that happens a lot, where the price kind of like ruins the banter about how good the phone is. I think this is a pretty good phone, and if it was $599, we wouldn't be having nearly as many of these flagship discussions. But Nothing wants to be a flagship.
like, it's just the chipset that people are mad about, right?
No, it's a bunch.
I mean,
of stuff.
I understand that, like
Like,
they're-
that's the main.
I mean,
they're
thing.
pulling the OnePlus. It's straight out of the OnePlus.
Yeah, that
playbook.
audience hates the flagship.
Of course, like
yeah.
that's what they're gonna do. I
feel like they're doing it
always the plan.
worse than OnePlus, though, because OnePlus was like,
Slower.
you just don't get wireless charging. They were like very specific.
Well,
things
and they started
pulled
making
out.
them expensive too.
They did. I mean, I kind of feel like Carl Pei is speed running the
Yeah.
OnePlus like
Oh,
route
absolutely.
that happened,
Yeah.
which was like, we're for the community. Just kidding, we're for expensive
Money.
phones.
OnePlus
Yeah.
got to the point where they were charging high money for phones, but they would have like no NFC, no wireless charging, and no IP certification. But the
Yeah.
rest of the phone, minus the cameras, would be like above the other
Yeah,
flagships.
yeah.
This is a phone that is, if every flagship is trying to be a 10 out of 10, this is like an 8.5 in everything, which when you do it slightly below flagships in every category, it feels like it's not quite a flagship. It's a below flagship chip, which, okay, fine, you're allowed to do that. But then it's also a slightly below flagship display, It's LTPS.
Yeah.
It's got Gorilla Glass 7i instead of the hardest one for a
Yeah.
face down phone. And then it's a 5150 milliamp hour battery, which is pretty great, but doesn't charge quite as fast as the flagships. It depends on the flagship you're talking about too.
Yeah.
And then you just go down the list and there's just a couple little things one by one that all nick away at not quite being a flagship. So that's why it's tough.
Maybe I shouldn't have this hot take.
Do it.
Sounds like you
I
should.
just think that
Wait. Hold on.
Do it.
I just think Samsung phones are so boring.
Yeah.
They're so
Which one would you rather buy right now?
I'm not talking about the flip and the fold, which
Yeah,
are
Which we're
also-
getting
No,
to.
you're talking about
We'll
this.
get to that.
This right
Talk
here.
about that.
Or like an S25.
The regular one, yeah.
That's part of why people buy it.
Unbelievably boring.
I think that's a take. We're the enthusiasts who go, that Prius, that Camry, that's super boring. Why would I want that? And then there's the millions and masses who are just like, that Prius, that
Yeah.
Camry, super dependable, reliable, same thing I'm used to, not going to break or try anything crazy, slightly better than last year. That's the one I want.
Yeah. I mean, I think I would rather have the better software, the better UI, the weirder back, the weird glyph toys that are
Well, that's what you're
pointless.
paying for with the nothing.
Yeah, and I think that
According to that tweet.
I think that
crap.
for people like me, I would I would buy that over the S25. I might not buy over a Pixel because the Pixel is like, it has a bunch of special features and it's also kind of interesting and all this stuff. Maybe, but like over an S25, absolutely. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I understand their logic. I think the design is valuable to some people.
I think it's valuable. But there's phones like $400 less that
Yeah,
have
and
the same
also
chip in it.
when the 3A Pro is like really good.
Also cool design.
Yeah,
also
the cool
really good.
design.
That's really...
and the same OS.
yeah.
And like the glyph matrix on the back, it's pointless. Like it's fun.
It's so stupid.
But you're gonna use it once as a little party trick, and then you're not gonna use it.
So
again.
here's the argument. Here's the niche that this phone deserves to exist. The 3A Pro, really good phone and really nice design. And I think the end of my video basically summarized all of my thoughts, which is this is the phone not for the people who want like a flagship in like all of the ways of a flagship and don't want the brutal like highest end specs, but they just want nice software and a unique design. This is more of a flagship than the 3A Pro. It's a better chip. It's faster. It has a better display. It has bigger camera sensors. It is more of a flagship than that, but it is also too expensive.
Right.
So if you can get it for cheaper,
Yeah.
it actually deserves to exist in that little niche right there.
Well, and my question also becomes, and forgive me if I'm just a bit ignorant on this, but like every year we talk about like, oh, the chip only matters if like you want to do high-end gaming. But my question that I pose to people who do high-end gaming on their phones is like, are chips bad at gaming right now? Because it seems like they're all doing pretty high frame rates on even the best games on mobile. Like it does.
Yes.
I feel like the chip that's in this phone is going to do fine.
No, it is. The reason they use that chip, and maybe I'm speaking for them a little bit, but I think it's pretty clear that most people, most of the time, will not notice the difference between this and a Snapdragon 8 Elite. But
Yeah.
because that margin exists, you can talk about that gap of
Like a
like
few
the
frames.
absolute highest end game that is the heaviest and hardest to run, because most games run fine on most chips.
Yeah.
Or in 5 years when you're still using the phone and things are starting to slow down
Yeah.
on this chip versus the 8 Elite, or the slightly better battery efficiency overall of the Snapdragon 8 Elite versus this chip. On those margins, you're like, all right, I'm paying $800 for a phone. If I'm going to get an $800 phone, I might as well get one with an 8 Elite. Like the Snapdragon, okay, Galaxy S25 has better cameras, better display, better chip, and overall is just going to run reliably and get software updates for X years and is like super boring.
Yeah.
You can sacrifice all those things for a unique design and a fun, unique, interesting software experience.
Yeah.
And some people will make that choice
Right.
and some people won't.
Right.
So that's where this phone exists.
I think that's perfectly said.
I think nothing's audience though. Like let's think of where
That's-
nothing's
that's
audience
the
came
problem.
from, and it
That's also
is
the
literally
problem,
that is the exact opposite.
Because
of what
exactly
they-
what OnePlus did, and look where that put OnePlus. Like nobody cares about that company anymore that much.
I think
so.
they're. I almost feel like OnePlus has made like a resurgence into the
A little
that,
bit.
but
the OnePlus
yes,
13 is so good.
like
awesome,
the
yeah.
phones are made. Yeah, they're super good.
but like OG OnePlus, like
The fan
community
base.
flagship killer. It
The
wasn't
fan
here's
base.
a flagship.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think a lot of those went with Carl to nothing, and
Yeah.
those people are very upset
they're realizing
right now.
that people do things for money. Good job.
I have one last take.
Okay.
It's not. It's My final opinion on this, because I didn't have one last week. I like your lobster analogy because, like lobsters, this phone is overpriced for incredibly mediocre flavor.
Oh, you're a lobster hater.
I like
Lobster
lobster a
sauce.
lot.
It's just buttery seawater.
yeah.
Wow.
And
Do you like?
I can
dislike
put butter
all
on
seafood?
toast.
Like, do you like crabs
I don't love
or
crab.
Crab and
shrimp?
lobster taste
or-
I like shrimp.
similar, right?
They're pretty similar.
I feel
I don't
like
really
crab
like
tastes
crab.
better than lobster.
It's seawater meat that you can put butter on.
Lobster
I'd
does
rather
get
have
glorified.
focaccia.
Bugs.
Seawater meat.
Yeah, they're bugs.
I'd rather
but they've
put butter
been-
on bread.
Okay, but they've been sautéed in salt water for a very long time, so it's very like yeah,
Interesting.
yeah.
Not a lobster fan. Enjoy your bugs. Enjoy your sea.
I
bugs.
love
I'm
the
trying
sea
so
bugs.
hard to stay out of this. Let's just keep moving.
I enjoy the sea bugs. Even
I
though
found a.
This
It's
is like a
been weird.
train wreck of a take.
I haven't had lobster in a long
sucks.
time, so I
It's
actually don't
expensive.
remember.
It's so stupid.
But it is expensive.
Okay. We meant for this section to be short.
I knew it wouldn't be short.
Any of you guys like music?
No.
Big
No?
fan.
No.
Yeah.
Big fan of music. Did
Big
you
fan.
hear
You mean
who
U2?
is released? Who just released a new album?
You
No,
too.
who?
Clips.
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 They just released new music?
Yeah, new music from Clips.
Oh. How do I
And-
find it?
Wherever you listen to music. But this is not the new Clips album, but this is the outro to the Clips album of the episode that we
album.
recorded this week. And you just watched.
Is an album like a playlist?
An album is like a playlist, but every single track is called either like or subscribe, and they alternate. It's like, there's like and subscribe, like and subscribe, like and subscribe.
What about like to and to subscribe to? Like the album was longer.